Because I don't think Crawford's going to put him away, and I think Canelo's a much better mover than people give him credit for. And I think Crawford will be hit more and hit harder than he's ever been hit before, but I don't think he'll go out or down.
Consistent with Terence Crawford's fight schedule over the last several years, where he's been pretty much fighting one time a year. That one time a year is clearly giving him a lot of time to rest and recover from his injuries.
Boxing experts are pointing to a major flaw in Terence Crawford's latest training footage. Gareth explained that although he first favored Crawford to beat Canelo Alvarez, his opinion has shifted. As the fight approaches, he now leans toward Canelo, predicting Crawford will face punches he has never experienced before. This change highlights the growing doubts about Crawford's ability to handle Canelo's power and survive at the highest level.
Early on, very close rounds in the first 3 or 4. We'll be divided on who's winning. I think Canelo will get going in the second third of the fight and land some big shots. I think Crawford will look good as well. Rounds 6 to 9, we'll be looking at who's getting ascendancy in the fight. Crawford will have weathered the storm of the big Canelo punches, countered himself, still close rounds. I think Canelo will push away and, in my view, will win the fight. Because I don't think Crawford's going to put him away. And I think Canelo's a much better mover than people give him credit for. And I think Crawford will be hit more and hit harder than he's ever been hit before, but I don't think he'll go out or down. And if he does go down, he'll get up. I think it'll be a very, very close affair. And I think even if in those last 6 rounds, Crawford's got Canelo's number in terms of movement and timing, I still think if it's very close in rounds, I think it'll either be a draw or a narrow points decision for Saúl Canelo Alvarez that everybody feels is very controversial, and then they'll do it again. That's how I see it playing. And that's the plot, if you like, with the subplots in the drama of one of the biggest fights we've seen in Vegas since.
Gennady Golovkin's trainer has given a sharp prediction that Terence Crawford may not be able to maintain his stamina at the higher weight class. He believes that Crawford could begin to struggle as early as the 4th round. The main reason for this is the sudden change in body size and the added muscle mass, which might slow him down. Since Crawford has never fought at this particular weight before, the trainer argues that the adjustments required are immense. Carrying more weight than usual can make even the most skilled fighter feel heavy, drain energy quickly, and lead to early frustration. If Crawford fails to control his pacing under these conditions, he could burn himself out before reaching the middle rounds.
Triple G's former trainer said that Crawford's gonna be quick in the first 4 rounds, but once Canelo figures him out and actually starts hitting Terence Crawford, in which Sanchez described as, quote, like a huge truck hitting him, it'll be game over for Terence Crawford. He explained that Crawford may not have the legs for someone like Canelo in the 168-pound division. Sanchez also added that if Canelo was eventually going to be Crawford's endgame, then Crawford should have jumped weight divisions a while back. Now, Crawford could have technically done that after the Spence fight. However, his once-a-year fight schedule prevented that from happening.
Reports are circulating that Terence Crawford may have picked up a shoulder problem in the middle of his preparations for the Canelo-Alvarez fight. While no official confirmation has been given, the possibility alone has caused concern among analysts and fans. This development is especially troubling because Crawford's career has usually been paced carefully, with only 1 or 2 fights per year. That rhythm allowed him to rest, recover, and enter the ring at full strength. The quick turnaround this time has not afforded him that luxury, meaning that any lingering discomfort could linger into fight night. A shoulder injury is not something that can be overlooked in boxing. Nearly every aspect of a fighter's craft, from throwing fast, accurate punches to blocking shots and controlling distance, relies on shoulder health. Even a slight strain could reduce Crawford's punching speed from his power shots, making it harder to gain respect from Canelo. Beyond the physical impact, such an injury could also weigh on him mentally, making him hesitant to fully commit during exchanges. Against a seasoned, heavy-handed opponent like Canelo Alvarez, any hesitation could prove costly. If the injury is real, Crawford faces an uphill battle. Entering the ring with anything less than full health against a fighter of Canelo's caliber leaves very little room for error. What was already seen as a risky challenge could become even more dangerous if Crawford cannot rely completely on his shoulders for speed, power, and defensive reflexes.
Solitary training camp and in every single solitary fight, a guy that is as old as Terence Crawford, 37, 38 years old, is going to have some type of injuries. They're going to have some type of old nagging type of stuff, especially a guy that works as ridiculously hard as Terence Crawford does. That was just a matter of time before wear and tear is going to start going and things are going to start popping off and going wrong, right? Also, you can tell that the reason that this is kind of consistent with Terence Crawford's fight schedule over the last several years, where he's been pretty much fighting one time a year. That one time a year is clearly giving him a lot of time to rest and recover from his injuries and gives his body time to heal up. And as a result, he's ready to go during fight time. So I wouldn't put too much on this. I would say though that if you're a gambling person, man, you should probably want to keep your money in your pocket for this particular fight, man, because this thing can absolutely positively go either way with between the two of these guys. Canelo Alvarez is an exceptional fighter, much bigger than Terence Crawford is, or been fighting at a much bigger weight class than Terence Crawford has been fighting at, and much more experienced at that level at 168 pounds. But Terence Crawford is just such a superb fighter and such an intelligent fighter in there that you can know that he's going to be coming there to fight, and he's got a significant chance to win that fight. Unless, of course, that injury is real. I mean, and it is significant and is preventing him from, really sitting down on his punches, because he's going to have to at a point in time with Canelo Álvarez is going to have to do something to get him up off of him.
Keith Thurman has weighed in with a realistic perspective on the upcoming showdown. He pointed out that Canelo Alvarez, despite not being undefeated, remains an extremely dangerous opponent. According to Thurman, every boxer has weaknesses, but that does not mean anyone can simply exploit them. He stressed that Canelo's experience, skill set, and resilience make him a fighter who cannot be underestimated. Losses in boxing do not always define a career, and in Canelo's case, they have only shaped him into a more complete competitor. Thurman emphasized that the idea of Canelo being beatable does not automatically guarantee Crawford's success, since Crawford must rise to a level he has never displayed before against someone of Canelo's size and pedigree.
An unbeatable fighter. That's fine. None of us are really unbeatable, right? But people got to understand this. Canelo Alvarez is not an unbeatable fighter. The question is, whoever he's fighting, we don't question what Canelo's going to do, right? We question what his opponents are going to do, right? It's not even really about Canelo. Canelo's going to show up as Canelo Alvarez, right? Ginger boy. So the question is, are you going to beat him? And are you going to beat him today? Like when fight night happens, is it you and is it now? You ready to beat him now? He's not unbeatable. Maybe you could beat him, but are you going to do it? And are you going to do it now? You feel me? Because I thought Danny Jacobs was going to have a way better performance.
Danny actually performed well against Canelo, but he didn't take any chances. He was doing just enough to not get beaten.
And Canelo was feeling himself. Canelo had preparation. He had that head movement, losing to Floyd, this and that. He fought some flat-footed fighters. He got used to getting his head here and there and ducking down and then pulling out and spinning out and little tactics. I've never seen somebody make Danny Jacobs miss so many punches. It was highly impressive. I did not expect that, because of the amateur pedigree growing up with Danny Jacobs. I know exactly what kind of New York fighter he is.
Recent footage of the face-off between Crawford and Canelo has attracted widespread attention. Surprisingly, Crawford appeared larger than expected, standing almost on equal terms with Canelo in terms of size. This is unusual because Canelo has traditionally been known for his strength and stocky build at higher weight classes. The visual impression of Crawford's size has raised questions about how effectively he has added mass. While some see this as a positive sign that Crawford has successfully bulked up, others argue that size alone does not equal strength or endurance. The key challenge lies in whether he can carry that extra weight naturally in the ring without slowing down. Looking bigger might help him intimidate, but the true test will be how his body responds over 12 rounds.
With that said, they're going to face off in an epic showdown. And the big talk, obviously, is the size difference, right? That Canelo Alvarez is much bigger than the smaller Terence Bud Crawford, who is essentially coming up from 147 in the minds of many. But really and truly, he's coming up from 154 because he actually had a fight at 154, a titled opportunity, his only fight at 154 last August when he took on Israel Madrimov, okay? And he beat Israel Madrimov, unanimous decision, to become a 4-division champion. But as you see here in this photo, there's not a big size difference. And actually, obviously, we know Terence Crawford stands at 5'8", got a 74-inch arm reach. Canelo stands at 5'7" with a 70-inch arm reach. There's not a massive size difference at all whatsoever. Now, clearly, as you see, Terence Crawford clearly has on what looks like Balenciaga shoes, and we know they are extremely big shoes, and it make you slightly taller. And Canelo Alvarez has on flats. The thing here is, the more important thing is, not if Terence Crawford can take Canelo Alvarez's punches. It's not if Terence Crawford, is going to get bullied around the ring. The concern with the weight is how Terence Crawford carries it himself. Does he start to fatigue in the second half of the fight? Should he get to the second half of the fight?
Timothy Bradley Jr., respected for both his championship career and sharp analysis, has shared a clear vision of how Terence Crawford should approach his fight with Canelo Alvarez. In Bradley's view, Crawford's greatest chance of victory lies in forcing the action early. He pointed out that Canelo is a fighter who grows stronger as the rounds pass, gradually finding rhythm and control. This means that the longer the fight drags on, the more dangerous it becomes for Crawford. Bradley highlighted that Crawford possesses the speed, accuracy, and ring intelligence to disrupt Canelo's momentum if he applies pressure in the opening rounds. By taking risks early and not allowing Canelo to dictate the pace, Crawford could surprise the Mexican star and establish control. Bradley also stressed that the added weight Crawford is carrying might drain his energy in later rounds, so conserving strength for the endgame is not a realistic option. Instead, he urged Crawford to lean into his natural explosiveness and sharp reflexes to try to end matters before fatigue sets in. In Bradley's eyes, the safest and smartest strategy is for Crawford to impose himself right away and finish Canelo before the fight.
Yeah, he can move a little bit, but yeah, he likes to come forward with that power. But you put him on his back foot. Let me tell you similar too. Remember, you know this guy named Usyk who put Fury on his back foot? Yeah, push the pace on him. Yeah, with volume, feints. Put Canelo on his back foot, Crawford. That's what you gotta do. You gotta put him on his back foot. Hell to the damn yeah. That's how you get it done, man. That's one aspect that you're gonna have to do. And hey, I would advise you to do it as early as damn possible. Do it as early as possible, because guess what? If you do that, you're gonna get control right away of the judges, right? They're gonna be looking at you. You're gonna dictate the pace. You're gonna dictate the flow of the fight. You gotta have him react to you, not you reacting to him. That's how you gain control of the fight real quick, real soon. Get active with that jab. You don't necessarily have to come out in the southpaw stance. You can come out in the orthodox stance. You know, what's the punch that always hits Canelo all the time? Easy work, the jab. Triple G was able to land his jab over and over. Floyd Mayweather was able to land his jab over and over. Bivol was able to land his jab over and over. You control him, you push him back, you walk forward. Anytime Canelo give you an inch, Going back, you take that inch going forward. That's how you going to get this done. You're going to have to be brave, my man, Crawford. You're going to have to be brave. You're going to have to be on your P's and Q's when you're walking forward as well, because he will snap back. He will snap back with them left hooks, right hands to the body, or looping right hands over the top, or even straight right hands. Sometimes he might even come with a two-piece combination. But you got to put him on his back foot as often as possible, man. With your how cerebral you are, with your feints, with your movement, snapping that jab.
Terence Crawford's sparring partner, Stanton, has offered an insider's perspective that contrasts with some of the concerns being raised. Stanton noted that Crawford's strength during training has been more than impressive. He described Crawford as powerful, sharp, and capable of holding his ground against physically larger fighters. According to him, Crawford does not seem to be having trouble adapting to the new weight and has adjusted smoothly to the demands of heavier opponents. Hearing this from someone who has shared rounds with Crawford encourages fans who fear he might struggle. Stanton's remarks suggest that Crawford's natural athleticism and work ethic are helping him absorb the challenge without losing his core identity as a fighter.
He's very good at kind of holding fighters, putting his weight on them. You're a big boy for 168, Al, so how did he manage and cope with that when you kind of picture Canelo doing that to him?
Nah, he's strong. That man is strong. Yeah, he's strong. So I don't think he'll have a problem, you know what I'm saying, with that.
What do you think, from your takeaways from that sparring, is the key for Terence to defeat Canelo Alvarez?
Just use his skills. I think he has the better skills, and I'd say just box him, you know what I mean? Just box him the whole night.
Given your experiences with him, and as you mentioned, you know, he's strong in those sparring sessions, do you have no doubts then that when he's in there at 168, he'll feel fully fledged and capable of performing for those 12 rounds?
Yeah. For 37 years old, like, he's training like he's like 25. Like, I don't think there'll be no problem at all with the fight.
What do you think he has to be mindful of that Canelo can produce? What do you think he has to be wary of in that fight?
Power. That's it. Just power.
Former welterweight champion Shawn Porter has also shared his assessment, focusing on how Crawford has managed his weight increase. Porter explained that Crawford has not rushed into bulking up, but has instead added pounds gradually and strategically. He mentioned that Crawford first gained around 10 pounds, then added another 10, ensuring that his body had time to adjust at each stage. This deliberate approach, according to Porter, is the right way to handle weight transitions because it avoids putting unnecessary stress on the body. Porter observed that Crawford is carrying the weight evenly, meaning his speed and mobility have not been sacrificed. For a fighter whose style relies on sharpness and agility, this kind of balance is essential for competing against someone as seasoned as Canelo.
The thing a fighter can do when he's trying to gain 10 pounds to fight at another weight class is hit the weights, up your protein and things of that nature. I saw the man eat. The man is eating brilliantly. You know, he's doing it all right. And that's what I meant when I said, you know, when he decided to take on this challenge and Canelo Alvarez, it takes a good 2 years to successfully put on 10 pounds, along with successfully putting on 10 pounds to get your body to acclimate to that weight, right? So when people talk about him being out of the ring for 13 months, they really have to also accept they have to understand that he's been working and training for everything that he needs to do on fight night against Canelo Alvarez.
So you saw him in camp as he was building and putting that weight on, and you said that you think he's doing it right. From what you saw then from training, do you think he's carrying the weight well then?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I saw it in his legs. I could see it in his arms and his shoulders, and it's distributed evenly. You'll get a lot of guys who are bottom heavy. You know, they don't have much on the top half. So once you get to the inside, they don't have a lot that they can do with you from this standpoint. I know a lot of people are concerned with Canelo Alvarez. Should he get in close? What's the strength situation going to be like? Well, Crawford's put on the right muscle mass in the chest area, in the ab region, and in the arms and things of that nature. I think he's going to be able to handle the strength just fine.